Hey, what's going on? Today I want to talk about a very special lens. This guy. This is the, oh wait, no, this is a water bottle, sorry. Yeah, this is the best lens I've ever used. Like, hands down. I've had so many different lenses. I've gone from having like just a zoom lens, just prime lenses, to having like a mixture of like a zoom lens that covers like a wide angle, and then just one prime lens. Like for a long time I had the Tamron 17-28, and that was my zoom. And I would use that for a lot. It was great, you know? I needed a light, wide angle lens that I could use to vlog and move around, and so that was great. It was a great lens for the time. Eventually I sold that lens and I got the 20mm 1.8, and it's been a really good lens because it's small. It's like wide enough where I can get everything in view, and it works really well on a gimbal because it's like light and it's small. And then I also have my 50mm, which I'm using to film on this camera right now. You know, it doesn't show too much, but it's more focused on me. It's more focused on the subject. I did have an 85mm for a while. I had the Sony 85mm, which I kind of wish I kept, and I used it for a wedding once, and it worked really well. It's just the only thing is that I found it really, like the minimum focusing distance was really far. So I couldn't really do detail shots with it. I thought it was only really good for like portraits, and I don't do a ton of portraits. I was like, oh, I want to go all primes. And then I was like, I want to get all zooms. And then I was like, I want to have a mixture of both. It really depends on what you're doing. It really depends on the line of work that you're in. And that, I think, is where trial and error kind of happens. You're constantly doing different jobs. You're going from like weddings, events, interviews. I really like versatility. Like, I love this 50mm, but it can be really limiting in tight spaces. The autofocus isn't on par with a lot of other lenses. It's a little slow. It can be a little hunty sometimes. A lot of the content that I'm making is short form social media stuff. What's more important than having the right lenses and stuff is your composition, your storytelling, your ability to be adaptable. So those are all very important things that I think comes before the lens. Obviously, if I get this lens, I'm gonna shoot beautiful shots too, right? And it doesn't really work that way. Like, we get so focused on what is the gear I need to make this happen? What lens do I need? And then when I get the lens that I need, or the light, or the microphone, or the camera, then I can start shooting the way I wanna shoot. It has to be storytelling and composition and editing, and then over here is what tools are you gonna use to tell these stories. The lenses are like what give these things the character that you want. So you need to kind of know why you're shooting, what you're shooting. Are you doing really busy events where, you know, you don't have time to like have like a whole prime set where you're constantly like and like changing lenses and everything? That is why I invested in this lens. This is the Sigma 24-70 f2.8, and it's the new one that came out, and it's the Sony E-mount. So this is only a Sony lens, but this lens this is my favorite lens right now because, you know, I could just be on this lens all day. I shot an entire wedding using this lens, and it looked great. If I'm in a tight space with the groom and I want to get a nice shot of his face, I'll zoom right up to 70 or like 50, and then I'll just get those details on his face. But then there's stuff happening behind me, like the groomsmen are like popping champagne or like fooling around with each other. So I'm gonna like turn around, and I'm gonna miss the shot if I like turn around and change my lens and then be like, hey guys, can you do that again? It doesn't work that way. And so for me, I was like, okay, I'm on 70. and then I'm just like, boom, down to 24 or 35. Talking's hard. How do people talk so much? I'm not a talker, so it's hard. This lens does make for a good vlogging lens. It's just kind of heavy, you know? I'm holding it just by the camera right now. Like I don't have like a tripod underneath or anything, or it's nice being able to have the 24 mil to kind of like have something wide if you want to film yourself too. So yeah, and it looks pretty good, and the autofocus works really well. So another nice thing about this lens is that because it's heavier, it's easier to stabilize. Like when you have a lighter lens, like a lighter Sony native lens, they're really light, and so if you don't have stabilization on or anything, like it can be really shaky. So it's nice to have the extra weight to kind of just help the footage look a bit more natural and a bit more stabilized. And I'm saying this and I have no idea if this is stabilized well, so we'll find out. So this lens may not be the bokeh master that you're looking for, but I think the benefits outweigh that stat. Prime lenses are known to be sharper and nicer looking than zoom lenses, but things have changed. Other than the 1.4 aperture that you get with a prime, this lens is just as sharp, if not sharper, than my 50mm. And the autofocus performance is way out of its league since it's a Sony native lens. I have even compared the two lenses side by side, and there aren't actually many differences at 2.8, other than like contrast or whatever. I found when shooting burst on the 50mm, it can be really inconsistent. I also noticed there's a slight difference in sound. I don't know if this is like a Sony native lens thing, but just like check out the differences in the sound of the shutter. Comparing this image at 50mm to my Sigma 50mm at f2.8, there aren't that many distinguishable differences. Only when you stop down to 1.4 you start to see the bokeh kick in. I got this lens mostly for video because of the versatility, but I still love shooting with the 50mm because I really like shooting at f2. It gives enough bokeh to kind of make it look natural, but it just kind of still looks really beautiful. Most of my jobs don't really allow me to shoot with just a 50 all the time. This past shoot that I did, there was like 4 different locations and we were only there for about 30 minutes. And I had to get as many shots as I could within 30 minutes and it was raining. Just the worst case scenario, but like, you know, I didn't have a lot of time to change lenses. So having this one lens, it was so refreshing and I didn't have to think too much about what gear I was using. I just focused on the focal lengths and get composition and just the lighting and everything. And it really saved me a lot of time. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of long. I know it was kind of just like not really too in-depth with the lens. I know there's other videos online that will go more in depth, but I'm trying to get better at uploading more content. Work is kind of steadying out and things are less hectic. I'm less like all over the place. And I'm really trying to put that energy into, you know, having time off and having time for my family and my friends, less working. So, you know, a lot of the time when I have time off, I don't really want to like spend more time shooting and like working. If you're watching this still, if you're still a subscriber, I appreciate it. Yeah, send me a comment down below if you have any questions about this lens, anything related to photography and videography that I can help with. So yeah, thanks guys.